Hello YouTube family members, welcome back again to my channel. So if you're just tuning in, you're welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for returning back. I do not take you guys for granted. Thank you so much indeed. So in today's episode, I'm going to be talking about the lessons I have learned in my 2 years of marriage. So before I go into that in details, I would like to first of all introduce myself. My name is Naomi Hosea. I film about marriage, I film about lifestyle, and recently I'm also a new mom, so I also film about motherhood and educational stuff basically. So if it is something that you're interested, please consider subscribing and be part of our family. We'll be glad to have you in this family, okay? So without further ado, let's just dive into today's topic. Like I said, I'll be talking about my 2 years lessons in marriage, and one of the lessons I have learned is I've learned to listen to the Spirit of God and allowing the Spirit of God to lead in the aspect of maybe decision making, most especially when I'm angry. The first thing when you are angry is to react, right? But I've discovered that if I allow the Holy Spirit to lead in my marriage, most especially when I'm angry, I find out that things begin to work out the way I had expected it to work out. For instance, there's this particular time that my husband went out and I was home alone, and I woke up expecting that he may have done some certain things that I wanted him to do for me, because I'd already mentioned that to him and he agreed that he was going to do it. Okay. So when I woke up, because I was sleeping at that time, when I woke up, I realized that he was not around. And I noticed that the thing I wanted him to do has not been done. I became upset. I was like, but he would have just told me that he would not be able to do this thing so that I can just do it myself, instead of him telling me that he would do it and then coming out and seeing that he has not done that thing. You get it? So I picked up my phone. Normally, ah, as you're angry like that, definitely you're going to react. I now noticed that the Spirit of God was telling me to calm down. I should not speak to him anyhow. Like I should not I should not say whatever that is coming to my head to say. And when I obeyed the Spirit of God and I called him, I still called him. I called him, and then I was like, "Where are you, love?" And he told me where he was, and he said he's coming. And then when he came, I didn't even bother to even like ask him whatever, like tell him whatever, as in say anything concerning the thing that I wanted him to do for me. I just kept silent. And then before I know it, I saw him doing that thing. I was like, wow. So it seems like you knew that you were supposed to do this thing, but it just that. And you know the funny thing? He told me that when he came in, he told me that if I had said anything that would upset him, he wouldn't have done it. I was like, wow. So that means it is good for you to listen to the Spirit of God. It's just not even in that particular aspect, even in decision making. When you are deciding, so there are some decisions that you and your partner will need to take. But when you listen to the Spirit of God and allow Him to lead, well, things will work out amazingly well for you. So that is one thing I have learned in these 2 years of marriage. So see, this is what I'm going to tell you guys. If you haven't learned anything from the things I'm going to be mentioning in this video, just pick this particular one. Allowing the Spirit of God to lead. Don't 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 override him. Just allow him to lead, and he's going to perfect everything. Like he will perfect everything. I can hear my baby cry. Let me go and check what is happening. Okay, so my baby has woken up, so I have to pick her up. Okay, and film. So before this NEPA people will carry light. So in my 2 years of marriage, I have learned to unlearn some things that have I have not noticed as we progress in this journey of marriage, that no, this is not favorable for us. One of the things is high expectancy of your partner. So I've learned that having high expectation of someone, not even just your partner alone, can can cause issues in marriage. I know that expectations are good in some certain ways, but having so much expectation on human beings entirely is really bad. Being that it can actually disappoint you and you'll be upset, you'll be angry, you feel like they don't love you. Whereas maybe that's not what they feel like they are able to do, or might not meet up that expectations. They are human beings after all. There are sometimes that humans cannot, most especially your partner, cannot meet up to the expectations you want him to accomplish for you, or things like that. For instance, let me give you an example. For instance, maybe you expect that your husband should be like frequently ask you, oh, how are you doing? Like when you wake up in the morning, how are you doing? Did you sleep well? And all of that. There are some people that down, what's the, is it not just to wake up and just greet you good morning? Or you expect that now that if you have a child or a baby, that he's going to be helping you to do some certain things at home, and he's not meeting up to that expectation. He's a human being. Like, that's one thing that I've learned. So because I feel like because of my high expectation of my husband, we started having some issues in marriage, which at the end of the day, because of communication, I got to find out that, oh, my husband, I mean, this high expectation of a thing is causing some kind of issues in my marriage, and I have to reduce my expectation and just allow him to like go with the flow. Yes, for him to go with the flow, the things that he can be able to do, he does it, and not because I expect him to do some certain kind of things. You get it? I don't know if people understand what I'm trying to say here. What I'm saying is that there are some expectations that we as human beings have towards another human being, like towards someone, and because they don't meet up to that expectation does not mean that they don't love you. Don't feel that way. They have different ways of loving someone or doing some things for you, which will also show that they are caring. But because they are unable to meet up to that expectation does not mean that they are not caring or they are not being considerate. No. So just know that probably you might need to reduce your expectation towards a human being, because they will definitely disappoint you. Okay, so that's one thing I've actually learned in these 2 years of marriage. Another thing I've also learned is that people change as they grow, even in marriage. Like for instance, me particularly, I have changed even as I added another year onto my years, even as I had a baby. Things are changing for me. Like I'm not like the way I used to before. I'm changing every day. Every day that comes, I'm changing. There are things that before, when I was young, I'll be doing it, but right now I cannot do it. I mean, we are changing. My partner is also changing. So as we are changing, you also need to adapt to the changes and get to learn the things that comes with the person. So if this person is exhibiting this character today, he might not exhibit the same character tomorrow. So as the person is growing, you're also growing with them. You're also learning the new habits. You're also learning the new pattern of the person. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but that is one thing I have learned. Change is constant. So as change is constant, you also need to also grow with the person. Okay. So yeah. The next thing, part of me, I also have my book here so that I don't I'm not rambling. So I've also learned to be selfless and also considerate of my partner. Like even in marriage you have to be selfless. I kind of felt like at a point that I was selfish. I was just looking out for myself, and I was not like considering my husband as well. Not like all the time, but I noticed that most times I was just being selfish, always thinking about myself and not considering what my husband is feeling or how he feels about a certain thing. So I've learned that I need to be considerate, or I need to be considerate and selfless, and not being selfish. Even having a baby too, self, you need to be selfless. Because well, it's not easy, shall, but we have to. Also, I was the next point is you have to be patient. Patient is everything. Oh, if you're not patient, I mean, just be patient. That's one thing I've learned. This patience is hard though, but it pays in the long run. If you're patient, things will fall into place. If you're patient, things will work out the way it it has been planned to work out. Okay, but if you're impatient, you may stumble and fall. If you're impatient, you might fall into the pit. So you have to be patient and allow things to fall into place. So my last point is that I've learned to have an effective communication with my partner, and also when we're having this effective communication, I should allow love lead. I should not be angry. I should not allow emotions to be the order of the day. Just allow love to lead. That is one thing I have picked out from these 2 years of marriage. So if you have any other lessons you have learned in how long you've been married, maybe 3, 4, 5, 6, even 12, 20 years, the lessons you have learned so far, please share with us in the comment section. We like to learn. I also like to learn from you as well, because Mina, I still be JJC. We're still growing. We're still growing as we move. I've also learned to adjust, learn to accommodate. There are lots of things I've actually learned so far in these 2 years of marriage, and I'm grateful to God for this great opportunity. I do not take it for granted at all, and I also thank God for this platform that He has given to me to share my experience to as many as possible who listens to me. And I hope that you find this helpful, you find this valuable, and not just for fun, even though it can be fun at times. I mean, all play, all play, something like that. All work no play makes Jack a dull boy, or makes Naomi a dull girl. So therefore, I mean, we are grateful to God. So yep. Taylor is saying please subscribe if you have not subscribed, okay? And like the video and share the video to as many as possible. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye. Mwah. Taylor, say bye. Bye. Bye.